Today, me and the boys set out to do a two-gun event. The round starts out with Mac, who has a bone stock AK, a Bulgarian SA-93. Nobody ever said we were good at it, though. The objective here is 2 hits on each steel plate, and then spin the spinner. But we find that with iron sights, the spinner is a little bit more difficult than it seems. Trust me, there's going to be a lot more missing in this video. Maybe a little bit more stability will help. Or maybe not.
Were you able to see that target from the front on it? Which one? That spinner?
Leaving the spinner unspun means a 60-second penalty. But it's pretty clear with open sights from that distance, he's not going to clear it, so he draws his high power from a Bianchi holster and gets to work.
And too much exercise.
Oh yeah, everyone with irons. Paper needs 2 hits, 1 in the A zone. Yep, it's going to be the exact same for all of them.
No, stop overthinking.
First guy, first stage.
Bells and all that. Then you start second guessing your fucking zero. You're like, oh,
Right, everything.
Next up is Golden Wolf, who's shooting a Yugo SKS. And apparently getting his hits with it.
30 seconds if you 2 minutes trying to shoot it. You still get the
yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, with a 10-round capacity, it's not long before he's fiddling with Chinese clips out of his Type 56 rig.
Because I know on his other stages stuff will be smaller and harder.
Yeah? Yeah. I thought this was already harder. Pretty small.
Yeah.
Smaller and harder.
Let's skip ahead a little bit. And he makes a wise decision to give up. This guy's a new shooter, especially for handguns, so cut him some slack. In fact, he's borrowing my Polymer 80 for this match. This is his first real competition of any kind that involves movement, so he's taking a sweet time. It didn't jam. Yeah. Full capacity magazines, and I'm not sure why he's starting with a 10. Yeah, good job! Next up we got Mr. Jacods, who's got an optic on his AK, in this case a Mac 90, with the Vortex Crossfire 2 attached. That optic makes one hell of a difference.
him just to actually.
What'd you load him with?
What did I use? I can't remember now. It's been a while. It's been a couple of years since I've done it.
296, if you black.
It was,
A1680?
no, it was,
4227?
yeah. That's a nice powder. So they'll run the 10-inch without a can.
Now for my run, I'm using a Type 56 SKS and my Polymer 80 as a handgun. I can't even hit that plate, so I give up pretty quick. I draw my Polymer 80 from my Safari Land on a mid-ride. I take pretty good care of my muzzle, mostly because I really hate being flagged, and I know how annoying it is. Next stage, we're up with Mac again. That is one slippery support. Again, 2 on steel. Next up is the paper targets. Again, 2 on paper. 1 has to be in the A zone, except that most of the A zone is covered by a no-shoot. He seems to be doing fine with that UM84 holster. It's okay for a universal holster, but of course something purpose-made is a lot better. As you can see, steel is surrounded by a no-shoot, so you gotta take it slow. He has a few issues with light primer strikes. Generally, that's a pretty good run. Next up is Golden Wolf. He's a little inexperienced with these kinds of events, and it does show, but he's doing his best. A stripper clip reload on that tower is really difficult.
SKS moment.
And that's only compounded by the trash stripper clips he's trying to use.
Yugo moment.
His Yugo in general is pretty unreliable, unfortunately. Every reload he has to take is an absolute killer on his time. This is why it's worth the $2 for surplus. Or even better, a modern rifle with detachable magazines. And it's good that he's in the habit of retaining his clips, but it needs to be a smooth and practiced motion for it to be effective. Personally, I do plenty of dry fire and reload practice with my SKS. At this point, I'm covered in flies and mosquitoes, so I take a second to brush them off, meaning the camera stops rolling for a minute.
Yeah.
And you're solid.
Looking at that, I assume doesn't look like it would be too hard to get it up on there. In this case, you can also back.
I didn't think about this at the time, but with the blade bayonet, it's got to be really hard to balance that.
Should have deployed bayonet.
Yeah. Well, that's what he could have just cleared paper targets with the bayonet. Oh, that's true.
Just want to stab him.
A-zone.
A
Yeah.
zone.
They didn't say. There we go. We take it off the sling.
This is where things start to unravel for Jacods.
Well, I got one more stage.
Jeez. Okay. I'm getting a very good view.
It doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, he's getting his hits. Yeah.
Wow, it's a great run so far. I sure hope nothing bad happens.
Those are A-zones for a lot of them.
Just like that, instant disqualification. It's a definite advantage to see other people go before you. The beat-up Type 56 rests naturally on the wood plank. Giving me an exceptionally sturdy position. And here we see the advantage of the surplus clips. No rounds lost and a lot of time saved. Cleaning up the rifle targets is easy. My weak point, however, is handguns. Luckily, they're all at pretty close range, and I even shoot one of them one-handed. My PMag jams on me. And again, at this point, I ditch all my PMags for the rest of the match.
I have a third spot. I can fire a couple minutes.
Now we see Mac out with Afghani jitter / race patty prone / squatting position. This stage is a little bit heavier on the props, including crawling under ropes. This is the power of the Slav squat. I really do like the squatting position, and I regret not using it myself later on.
He's doing good with the irons.
If you know how your irons are good.
Yeah, well, I couldn't see my irons when I was going through the poppers at all because of the sun.
Get better eyes.
Yes.
Screams as he burns his hand and runs.
Yeah. Definitely the highest round count for the rifle.
Yeah.
This is so hard.
Yeah.
On the way out. I'll have a good time first.
Lol, only 9mm. He actually left his action open when he was crawling through the dirt. The Yugo fails the mud test. The gun is shoved full of dirt. It is non-functional at this point, and he has no choice but to move on and get all those penalties. Remember how I said he's borrowing a handgun? Red must be engaged before the blue targets. So unfortunately, he can't just move on. My boy is out of 9mm. This is where I really struggle. The sun's in my eyes, and I don't have sunglasses, and it makes getting my hits really difficult on the smaller poppers. Oh boy.
Being the last.
Yeah, this is pretty embarrassing. The sun's out, it's in my eyes, and I don't have sunglasses. I cannot see a thing. My irons look more like mirrors than anything else. It's worth noting that if you're shooting into the sun, coloring in your front post with a Sharpie or a dark marker can help a lot beforehand. That being said, what it really comes down to is skill, and I couldn't do it. Here I am, searching around for my second to last stripper clip.
He just needs 4. Oh boy.
I completely overshoot the box, and the RO has to shoo me back. But after several minutes of missing with the rifle, I'm not about to mess around with the pistol. I just want the stage to be over.
There we go. Man, he looked out. Nice. That's 1 for 1 on those last ones.